Thank you, Guy. Thank you, Guy and Alethea and band. That's beautiful. Well, it's such a joy to have you all here. Thank you for being here today. Do you know that we have a choice? A choice for what? We have a choice as to how we experience life. Some circumstances come our way that we may not have consciously chosen, but yet we can choose how we respond to them. So we can choose for life to either be a dream or we can choose a nightmare. So, are you envisioning a dream or seeing a nightmare? It's up to you. It's up to our perspective. In Unity, we know the truth that everything begins in consciousness. Everything was first established in consciousness before it was manifested. Everything began in consciousness before any of this appeared. In 1937, in October, I believe it was October 15th, was the first service of Unity Church of Hawaii. So someone came here from the mainland, came from Unity Village, Marie Hanley, and had this dream of establishing this ministry that had been a study group. So we are the recipients of someone's dream. Maybe sometimes you've been the recipient of someone's nightmare. But we have the power to create what our experience in life is. And I know this to be true. I used to wake up every morning in hell. And it's not a geographical place, per se, because I could be in different places and I could still wake up in hell because I took it with me. Wherever I was, I took my baggage and my stuff with me. And so no matter the outside appearances, I still had that. Later, I began to realize that that can shift. That we can make a choice as to what we experience in life. And I began to experience heaven every day. Back in Wichita, I'd get onto crowded elevators at the hospital or other places. And, I'd say, how's everyone doing today? And sometimes people would respond, well, I'm doing okay under the circumstances. Now I want to ask you, what are you doing under your circumstances? Why are you under it? Why not get on top of your circumstances? Or it could be a beautiful day. And I would say, isn't this a glorious day? Yeah, but it sure is hot. Or yeah, it sure is cold. Or, yeah, boy, doesn't that wind just blow? Or, wow, isn't it dusty? Or, wow, I just know it's going to change soon. And it's like, really? We can choose how we want to look at life, how we want to approach life. Our consciousness creates our experience of life. This screen is projected onto by a projector. Your life, the way your life is showing up. All right, let's take a deep breath. Your experience of life is like a screen. Guess who the projector is? It's us. When we say my life, who's the my? Who's the me behind that? When I say my body, who's the my that's saying that? We are the ones who are projecting this. And two people can be in the same circumstance and have completely different experiences. How many people here have ever been stuck in a blizzard. Hey, that's more hands than I expected in Hawaii. You all obviously were not born here or stayed here your whole life. Yeah, I've been stuck in some blizzards. And it gets really, really cold. And the snow's really, really deep. And you're just, if you're not prepared for it and the snow's up to here or something, it's hard to walk through. And the wind is typically blowing really hard. It's really cold. But I remember being stuck in a blizzard or stuck in deep snow, got the car stranded, was going to visit a parishioner, and I was about a half-mile away from their house still. I had a wonderful walk. I had a great walk. I thought, wow, this is beautiful. The air is so crisp and clean, and everything's so white, and the thing about snow is it absorbs all the sound. So it's just so still and quiet and peaceful. I chose how to look at that. I saw a Far Side cartoon one time. Well, I love Far Side. And one of these he did a number of them with where he's depicting hell, and devils and flame coming up. And in one of these Far Side cartoons, this guy is pushing a wheelbarrow. And you can see he's whistling this happy song. And he's pushing this wheelbarrow full of rocks. And he's just as happy as a lark. And these two devils look at each other and they say, we're just not getting through to that guy. It's up to us how we choose our experience of life. Our circumstances, those can come and go. But our experience of it and how we respond and react to it tells us more about us. Our circumstances don't tell us about us. Our response to it does. So I like this quote from Eric Butterworth, who was a Unity teacher and writer, one of my favorites. Eric Butterworth says this. I'm trying to get out of people's way here. Seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing. You see things not as they are, but as you are. You see things not as they are, but as you are. You've heard this phrase, seeing is believing. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. But actually the flip of that is just the truth. That we tend to see that which we already believe. That's why it's ridiculous to get into an argument with somebody, because they're already seeing what they believe. And they're really seeing it. Their beliefs, or our beliefs, determine what it is we see. So if I choose to see beauty and love and the divine staring back at me every day, that is my experience. And if I have this philosophy that life is horrible and against me, then my experience of life will be horrible and life will feel like it's against me. It works. It's spiritual principle. It's what the Fillmores taught. It's what Ernest Holmes taught. It's what Eric Butterworth taught. It's principle. In Scripture, it's put this way. You reap what you sow. What we put into life, how we face it, the consciousness with which we approach it is how we experience it. So you can be in some weird circumstances, and yet you can have a wonderful journey and life. So it's up to us how we create, and this month we're looking at the power of imagination. Last Sunday was Pentecost Sunday. Pentecost is a Jewish festival. Lots of people were gathered in Jerusalem on the day of Pentecost about 2,000 years ago. And a mighty rushing wind moved into the upper room where the disciples were at. And they received this gift to be able to speak in other languages, and there were all kinds of people gathered there from countries all over the world, and all of them were hearing the words in their own language. So I've sometimes wondered, was the miracle that they were speaking in other languages, or was the miracle that they were hearing everything in their own language? I assure you, and I assured the people in the previous service, that I do not have surveillance equipment in your home. But people sometimes come up to me and say, "How did you know what we were talking about privately in our bedroom last night?" And, you know, at that point, I'm just wanting to back away. But in the lesson, I would use the exact words that they had said privately to each other in their bedroom. Or where I've spoken and someone heard exactly what they needed to hear, right at the point of what they needed. How does that happen? Well, it's the gift of Spirit. Spirit still does that, like on the day of Pentecost, speaking to people right at the point of their need. Sometimes I've had people come up to me after a service, and they'll say, "Reverend Lytle, that was an amazing lesson. I loved it when you said this and this and this." And I don't remember saying that and that and that at all. And I'm thinking, I'm going to have to listen to this message because I don't remember saying it. And sometimes I'll listen to my message and I'll think, wow, that's good stuff. I never thought of that before. Spirit speaks to us right at the point of our need, right? What it is that we need at that time, right? And so that Acts chapter 2, Peter is preaching in Acts chapter 2, verse 17. He begins to quote from the 3rd chapter of the prophet Joel. Joel was a prophet in the Hebrew Scriptures, the Old Testament, and it says this: "Your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." Now, in the Greek, in the Christian Scriptures, that word for old men is presbyteroi, like presbyter. If you've ever heard the English word presbyter, it comes directly from the Greek. It means a leader in the church. And so it might not just be older people, but those leaders will begin to have dreams and visions. The young will have dreams and visions. It goes on to say that the slaves, the poor, the rich, everybody will have this power and presence of Spirit to be able to envision. So what do you envision? That's the power of imagination. Image a nation. Image what it is you really want to create. Image a world that works for everybody. I think of Mahatma Gandhi, who's been a literary mentor for me since I was in high school. In high school, I fell in love with Gandhi. Then in college, I started studying his works, and then studied more and more as I went into ministry. Gandhi was not in the most pleasant of circumstances. I'm just telling you, some people say, well, circumstances are awfully hard. How are you going to deal with that? But Gandhi was in a situation where a foreign country had taken over their country, and they were issuing all kinds of laws and prohibitions against them. The Indian people were outlawed from handling their own salt, because salt had become British property. So they could not get their own salt. It was British property. So Gandhi led a march to the sea, to the ocean, and got a scoop of ocean water in his hand and said, "Look at me, I'm breaking the law." He envisioned a world that works for everybody. And he believed that other people could join him in believing that vision as well. Instead of cursing the darkness, he chose to be a light. He chose to change things. He chose to work with people, knowing there is infinite power in all of us that cannot be defeated. He was thrown off of a train for having darker skin. He was beaten. He was put in jail. Eventually, he was assassinated. But he stood for truth. And Gandhi says this: be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. In other words, stop complaining and be what it is that you really want to see in the world and help bring about that vision. Do you want to envision a dream, or do you want to envision a nightmare? We are the ones who decide. We are the ones who decide what to do with it. The choice is ours. We have the choice at every moment. Every moment I know I'm going to have the opportunity to decide how I will respond to life. Isn't that great? It is. You have the opportunity every moment. So here's your homework assignment. How many people here want a homework assignment? Would you raise your hand? This side wants a homework assignment. This side's not too sure. Some of them. But here's the deal. Whether you want this homework assignment or not, you will get this homework. It will show up. You know, I mean, it's part of life. And here's the homework assignment, so you'll recognize it when it comes. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Yeah, let's take another deep breath and just sigh it out. Okay, here's the homework assignment, and you'll know it when it shows up. And it's coming to a life near you. Here's the homework assignment. At some point in your life, someone will show up that might be just a tad bit irritating. There may be some circumstance in your life that doesn't seem right, doesn't seem good, that frustrates you. Something will come that will challenge you. And all these words that we say in unity about it's all good, suddenly you'll think, it didn't look good to me. I got a wave on that one. Got a hallelujah. So when that person or that situation shows up in your life, I'm going to model for you what to do. Take a deep breath. And, you know, usually I do this silently. There's been a few times I've done it out loud. But silently, you can do something like this. You can say a denial. A denial is taking energy away from something. And so an example of a denial would be, there is no one and nothing against me. Let's say that together. There is no one and nothing against me. Now, not all of you believe that right now, but I'd like for you to imagine that you did believe it for a little while and say it like you did believe it. Let's say it together. There is no one and nothing against me. Okay? Take another deep breath. Now we'll use an affirmation. And again, when this homework assignment shows up, you can do this. You can do it silently. Sometimes I've done it out loud. And the person standing in front of me looks rather puzzled and goes on to tilt for just a little bit, trying to figure out what's going on with Reverend Tim. So here's an affirmation. Wherever I am, God is. Let's say that together. Wherever I am, God is. All right, let's say it again. Wherever I am, God is. Take a deep breath. And then what I do is something like this. I will begin doing some self-talk. Now, you need to do this in your own way, in your own language. But I talk to myself something like this. Tim, I know you're confused right now, and I know you just want to punch this person in the nose. But that's not really going to help us, and I don't think that's in your highest divine self now, is it? So go back to your affirmations. Go back to your denial. Do some more breathing. Now see this person for who they are. Begin to look them in the eye. Oh, ooh, ooh. You see it? You see it, Tim? It's God looking back at you. Oh my gosh, what a great disguise. God, you are funny. You have such a great sense of humor. Look at how you showed up today. Wow. You showed up all irritated and snarly. I love you, God. So I do this, honestly, I do this self-talk and affirm the truth of it so that I can create a dream rather than a nightmare. Now there's lots of people who are willing to accommodate your nightmare if that's what you want. If that's what you're envisioning. There are people around who would be glad to help you with that. On the other hand, the universe is conspiring on your behalf. And if you want a vision for life, if you want a vision that really excels and expands and creates amazing things in your life, it's yours. It's yours. It's already here. I love the works of Ernest Holmes, and I prayed the whole book, Science of Mind. I prayed it, I was just ruminating on it. I could hardly put it down. And what Ernest Holmes teaches is that it's already there. It's not like we're having to create it. We're revealing what's already there. All that you need. Your dreams, as Eric Butterworth says, your dreams are the thing itself in incipiency. What that means is all that is needed to bring that forth is already present in your dream. It's already there. We just need to unfold it. We need to claim it. And get over that self-doubt thing. Get over that low self-esteem thing. Oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, God, I'm so unworthy. I beseech thee, please help me. Get over it. The dream itself is evidence that it is already here. God is already here to back it up. Where do you think the dream came from? It comes from God. God speaking through your imagination. Let it come out. Let it come forth. Don't hold it back. Oh, that stall tactic of the ego, of low self-esteem, or who am I to think I can do that? Get over that. Be the Christ you really are. That's who you are, Jesus didn't come to say, hey, I'm the only one. Nanny, nanny, boo-boo, too bad for you. That isn't what Jesus came to do. Jesus in John chapter 4 said, greater things will you do. That doesn't sound like someone who wants us to be down in the dust. Jesus, quoting from the Psalm, says, does not Scripture itself tell you, you are God's? Like I've said before, some people have asked me, do you believe in Jesus? Yeah! Jesus is my master, my Lord, my teacher. And furthermore, Jesus believes in me. So my fundamentalist friends begin to back up at that point. And like Marianne Williamson says, it's really not our failure that we're afraid of, it's our light. Why not be what we really are? Why not let it shine? Why not let it come out? Wouldn't it be fun to just let it shine and be who we really are, to really be that Christ presence, to let that light, that vision come forth? Why not? Let's do this together. God bless you. Thank you.